course. Darkseer, though, coming out for J.Storm. Again, Moo back to position 3, so likely to see that in the hands of Moo this time around. But Darkseer also good in a laning phase, just running at Drow in the lane with that Ion Shell spam.
I mean, you do talk about running at Drown. That might be what he wants to do. But definitely in those early levels, more so, we're seeing Darkseers. They just cut the first wave. They force the carry to farm under the tower. Then you're able to get those easy pulls, and you just create so much space. But you also make a really good point that, you know, once he has the levels, once he's ready, Drow Ranger's a very squishy hero to get on top of. But I would like to see a bit more easy lockdown from the supports for the side of J.Storm, because at the moment, their best stun is out on the Sven.
Yeah, Lina, I mean, the lockdown is kind of interesting for J.Storm, because I see what you're saying. Lina, though, the LSA does need that setup ideally. Something like a Yules herself could bring that Chen. Of course, always curious to see what he goes for when it comes to the creatures that he's looking to take over. So they potentially have pretty solid lockdown, but going to come through items and the level progression as the game moves on here.
Yeah, so Beast Coast, they take the DK. That's a bit interesting. I was thinking, there is always the option of Drow Medusa, that very late game a style focus, but it looks like that's not where they want to take it. The DK, we haven't seen so much of that hero, but obviously he does match up fairly well versus the Lina in the mid, and isn't going to be able to be pressured out thanks to that Dragon's Blood.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up too, but to almost counter my own argument, but as you said right there,
5 seconds remaining.
I think this is actually going to be a support Lina, or especially now seeing the DK that could sway J.Storm to instead go more of a support Lina and a different matchup, a more favorable matchup even into the Dragon Knight. So we'll see if that's what they come to or not, and also what Beast Coast decides to ban here, being that they have the DK mid.
Yeah, there are a few heroes who could abuse this Dragon Knight. There is the possibility of a Monkey King. Obviously, he does very well in melee on hero matchups. And then they might be thinking about the OD, but it's not an amazing matchup for an OD. But as it does get later into the game, if that DK doesn't have the BKB, you are able to shred through him as well as the Drow.
Yeah, as far as lane matchups go, Timbersaw comes to mind against DK, but you do not want a Timbersaw and a Drow either, so that's probably not a hero we would see from J.Storm, mainly because of that. So Beast Coast is thinking of that final ban, though, and what they could be up against. They do have their final pick on top of this, more than likely they're on offlane. Speaking of what they could still use, some more jump, I would feel, that frontliner. They have a DK, but let's see. Tidehunter still on the board. Maybe a potential there.
I mean, a Tidehunter would obviously give them a lot of team fight, but a few of the premium offlaners, I think Centaur, I've seen a lot of him. People have been making really good use of the Stampede, and that might be quite good. But if they do want team fight, I think the best hero left is probably that Tidehunter, just because they don't have any big teamfight ultis for Beast Coast just yet. But not having these big teamfight ultis, it does mean you have that bit by bit pick off. You know, you've got solid disable with the Grimstroke as well as the Dragon Knight, so you're not reliant on those long cooldowns. So they might not want a big hero like the Tide.
Mm-hmm. All right, well they don't. They go a Puck instead. Does bring some solid initiation, but a little more fluid moving of a hero, I suppose you could say. But Beast Coast choosing the Puck, and also the potential to interchange that in the DK if the matchup isn't too favorable with the final pick coming out here from J.Storm. So we'll see if that maybe comes out.
10 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often we see an offlane DK, but it is obviously a possibility that they do have to think about. And I do quite like the Puck here because it just allows them to hold people in position. That Lina is really quite squishy and abusable. And we talked about J.Storm, that they seem to be lacking lockdown. So, if this is a mid-Puck, if he's able to get snowballing on a lot of farm, they'll have real difficulties dealing with it.
Yeah. Man, trying to think of that final pick now for J.Storm. Well, we're going to find out. And okay, I wasn't going to say Alchemist, so I can't say I was about to guess that one. But the Alchemist, the Brile Alchemist coming up for J.Storm, so it will be resolution on Sven, of course, and that does mean Fear getting his hands on Lina, as we were kind of leaning towards as the draft developed right there. But Alchemist, not your everyday mid-hero that we see right now, but J.Storm confident with it. Why do you think that is here?
I mean, I think their idea is that this Alchemist, he can come properly online before Beast Coast really reach that point. I think J.Storm think they're going to be able to pressure Eternal Envy. And even though people think of Drow coming online really early because, you know, she hits level 6, she comes on early, that's not actually quite the case. She hits level 6 and she can start to flash farm, but it's not until, you know, she gets a few items that she's really a big deal. And, you know, they're hoping to hit about that 11-minute timing on the Radiance. And then once you have Radiance Manta, hopefully you're able to run it over the side of Beast Coast and they're not able to stop you, I think.
Yeah. Well, J.Storm confident with the Alchemist pick, but again, they gave up Drow in the beginning, a dangerous hero to do that, especially with Beast Coast, how much they've been wanting to play it recently themselves. Usually we see a band as a result initially, but Eternal Envy queued up as that Drow Ranger. So again, this is game 1 of a best out of 3. A double elimination tournament. It's only 4 teams involved, the other 2 being Complexity. They're taking on Young Drug Gaming, which was the other open qualifier team actually joining Beast Coast. As the 2 open qualifier teams, J.Storm and Complexity were the invited teams right there. So ultimately one of these teams will be going to the minor, and that'll come tomorrow. We got 2 best of 3s today. This stream will be doing the winter finals after this. And on the secondary stream, I believe it's Beyond the Summit 2, we have their Complexity versus Young Drug Gaming. They'll play the lower bracket match after. So that's what's on the docket. Some good NA Dota over the next couple of days, and then we swap over to South American Dota the following days, at least in this time region here. So into the game, and let the spam begin. Thanks to
It looks like it is going to be mid DK. Obviously, we did discuss the possibility of them mixing up, but DK has a pretty good time against the Alchemist. You have the Breathe Fire to lessen his attack, deny his CSs, and obviously with the Dragon Blood, you do get that bonus armor, so you're happy to sit in the Acid Spray and get those denies against Bryle's out. So we'll see how he's able to do in the mid lane.
I do got to say, as far as Beast Coast is concerned, though, a team with obviously plenty of big-name players that have history, but in the success that they have had in glimpses here, Brax has no doubt been a standout player for me. He's playing the puck this game, and it feels like they need him to have a good game if they really want to be able to have a chance of ultimately winning the game. And he usually does bring that to the table. He's a very consistent player, and so excited to see what he does on puck right here. And in fact, as I'm talking about him, he's moving towards the top lane, so Beast Coast making a lane swap. You look at the very deep ward that they placed in that Radiant jungle. Holy crap.
Yeah, but the thing about this very deep ward is you might not have noticed, but it was scouted out by the side of J.Storm, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets taken down. And also, in case you're wondering about what this this deep ward is about, it's because Alchemist, we discussed him not having a great time in this mid lane, so he will want to go farm these jungle cramps, and they just want to stop Bryle's farm. So I do really like this early deep ward from the side of Beast Coast, because it means once the Alchemist gets pressured out of lane, they're still not going to let him recover in the jungle.
Yeah, that and the possibility of Chen over there, although Chen likely not going to be in that area. But early on, LSA hits on a puck as Lena's going at it with Brax. Fear just kind of drawing attention, but he might be in trouble now. He does have a TP. Here comes TMT, though. Doesn't bring a stun to the table, and he knows this, and he's out. Ooh, one more auto attack needed.
It's very close to getting that kill on the Lena. But now they do know the full lanes, and Eternal Envy, he started off by himself at the bottom lane here, so Drow is going to get zoned out by the Chen.
Well, I saw right there, so Chen actually recalled Sven to the bottom lane, and he's doing the same to Lena. In fact, they're going to go on Eternal Envy as a result. Now, let's say landing, trying to block. Here comes Grimstroke, so I don't think they're going to get a kill out of this, but they're going to force out plenty of regen from Eternal Envy, and yeah, Fear even standing his ground. A couple more auto attacks if he gets it off. Oh, close call once again, but Drow surviving that tango ticking, keeping him alive. But Resolution still has a TP ready to go, is the ultimate point I was getting at there with that recall coming into play from Chen.
Yeah, it's such a good point that we didn't talk about in the draft, is that when you have a Chen, you just win these musical lanes because you don't have to expend your TPs, and you can just send people to where the Chen is. So it means J.Storm, they're more than happy to switch up their lanes to get their favorables because they have the advantage of the Chen. So it's just another strength of the hero that we didn't talk about.
Yeah. You see right now, it seems like J.Storm's having a pretty good time with this. Already spends 8 and 5, and Fear is just continuing to zone out the heroes. In fact, they're going to get a follow-up stun from Sven. Bane That brain sap is only going to heal him so much. The stick is not going to be enough. The final auto attacks coming through. Fear credit for the kill. And the first blood going the way of J.Storm. This Lina support is causing so much issue right now for Beast Coast.
Yeah, I said I thought they might not have enough stun, but if Fear is able to land that light strike away every time, like he's been doing, you really don't need anything else. And Beast Coast, they're still investing into this tri-lane. They think it's their best way forward. But just as I have to say that Eternal Envy, he's going to the top.
Yeah, I think they kind of realize it. But I once again, like I said, when the Chen changes first happened, I noticed J.Storm was one of the first teams to start doing it and just abusing that recall. He just recalled him over to the regen rune. I mean, that's just how efficient they are as top lane Moo. He's dead. Yeah, the Illusory Orb will finish the job. So the TPs come again. He goes down. Meanwhile, bottom lane, TMT will fall, though, as they take advantage of those TPs. And speaking of that, Sven, he's TPing to the top lane. So J.Storm is not going to let them get away.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw what happened with Moo, but IX Mike, he just had brilliant body blocking, allowing Brax to put the damage into that Darkseer. It was a really nice play from the side of Beast Coast.
Are you doubting my camera, sir? Yeah, I might have missed a little bit of it. Drow, he's fine. In fact, now Resolution's the one that could be in trouble. Nope, never mind. Warcry, he'll run, but Brax is taking some good chunks of auto attacks there from Fear. Having to respect that, but man, we have plenty of movement early on in what is game number 1 of this series so far.
Yeah, it's honestly just the Chen. It's allowing them to do this because it meant the TPs. They had them for the side of J.Storm, so they're just following the Drow Ranger across the map, making sure she doesn't get off to that early lead. And instead, Bryle is gonna be hopefully the one who accelerates and takes the win.
Yeah. Another TP out here going off. Eternal Envy goes to the bottom lane, so let it continue as Chen just gets up here. He actually does have a Mud Golem in hand. Chen is going to go over to the side shop and buy a TP, I'm sure. Yeah, he buys one. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him TP bottom and recall Sven eventually in the near future. I'm guessing J.Storm's just going to keep up the pressure, maybe finish the lane here. And they continue to do that. But I want to talk about the middle lane real quickly. DK is 22-10. You got 16-1 Alchemist. So as kind of expected, Dragon Knight is having the much favorable time here in that mid matchup.
Yeah, DK just against any melee hero, you don't expect him to win. And you don't really expect Alchemists to win their lane. They're just meant to get as many levels as they can, and then they usually end up going to this jungle. And you can see that's exactly what Brawl's done. He's set up for jungling, has his Soul Ring. He got as much as he was able to out of this mid lane. And so now he's going to retreat to the nice safety of his jungle. But he might end up farming under this ward, and so I'm curious to see if Beast Coast are going to try and pressure him out.
Drow taking the Stormhammer, sets up the perfect LSA, and you see the achievement popping up for Fear right there. Adding insult to injury for Eternal Envy, because he might die. Yes, the final auto attack goes off. Nighttime doesn't matter. Sven stays close enough. 5-minute bounty rune's coming out. Resolution will go to pick up the other one as TMT at least got this one. But now he could die for it as Stormhammer hits. LSA is the mana there. It is. It's only level 1 LSA. Popping a stick. Doesn't have enough mana for the Dragon Slave though, but doesn't need it. The auto attacks are more than enough from Fear. 4-1 start now. I go back to this Lina is just having so much impact in this game.
Yeah, I mean, 4 position Lina, you don't usually think of it as that effective, but they're playing very well. The communication between J.Storm, it's right there. They're chaining their stuns exactly at the end. They're getting all the damage in. And Fear, the amount of damage he's able to do with these early right clicks, this Lina hits pretty damn hard, and you're seeing it pay off.
Well, they're going to need to fight once again. Alchemist doing somewhat of a stack in the jungle. I don't even know if it was, but just jungling. Lina nearby. Sleep is put up. There's the follow-up with Grimstroke, using that Ink Swell. It hits Lina. All she goes to do is Dragon Slay, but Brax comes over and takes her out, so at least they get some revenge finally. And honestly, not the biggest bounty, considering she's been involved in all 4 kills right now. So not the end of the world there for Lina, but Beast Coast making plenty of movement themselves as they go through the jungle back to the mid lane. And Alchemist, he's going to be wrapped around on. Stroke of Fate connects. Oh, it gets level 6, but it doesn't matter. The Chemical Rage, not enough regen. TMT might die for this. Sven, TP's in. Popping the mango if he gets that Stormhammer off, that's for sure. Oh, fade to black at the last second. He's trying to dodge, but the LSA hits, and Fear leaves it for Resolution to finish the job. So they do kill Alchemist, but comes at a cost there. Another kill for Sven.
Yeah, they lose TMT, but we saw exactly what Beast Coast wanted to do. They realized the Alchemist, he wasn't in lane, so they go in to invade this jungle, and then the Alchemist, he walks away, but they know exactly where he's gone, and they don't let up the pressure on the Alch. So that's all in all good pace by Beast Coast. You just want to slow down Bryle's Radiance. It's the most important thing you can do in this early game.
March wrapping around top lane. He's well, Eternal Enemy's just going to TP right in front of him. Not much that Chen can do. In fact, Chen is dead. I think that was the mismicroing going on right there. I don't know where his it looks like the siege creep is over here. No, that's actually it is their siege creep. Yeah. So you could tell that was one of those classic micro hero issues where he almost lost track of his actual hero for a second. Dive in the tower.
Yeah, and Eternal Envy TP'd from this tier 1 top to this tier 1 top. So a bit of a mistake on both parts, I think.
Oh, wait, he TP'd to the tier 1 tower up there? Oh, I didn't even realize that. Okay.
He TP'd to his own tier 1 tower. Now it might cost him his own life.
Oh, boy. Yeah, he doesn't have a TP now. In fact, TP coming in from, who would that be? That's going to be Puck. Dream Coil hits only one, it looks like. And Drow just goes down and only hit Lina somehow. He was trying to place it, hit everyone, one of those cases. So they lose the Drow again, Eternal Envy. Safe to say that J.Storm was right to give up the Drow, at least at this point in the game, because she is not having much impact right now.
Yeah, Bryle, he's found once again, but they don't manage to get the Inkswell on top of him.
Mid lane. He's trying to run away, gonna get an LSA to save. Bryle pops the Chemical Rage once again at the last second, and this time it will be enough as the regen starts kicking in to survive. So, yeah, losing the tower, and you even see a ward that's actually been placed there for a little bit now from Beast Coast. But, yeah, Ryoya, he's going to be a big factor, no doubt, for Beast Coast in terms of coming back as go back to Drow and the struggle that she's had early on.
Middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, J.Storm, they're just now shutting down where Drow's able to farm. I wouldn't be surprised if they take this top tower soon. Definitely with the dominated catapults, that's going to be a possibility. I think Braxy's going to do everything he can to defend this tower, but it's not going to be quite enough. And then this just opens the jungle for the side of J.Storm and really limiting the space where Eternal Envy can farm up once he gets this level 6.
Ooh, nice disjoint there from Brax. Avoids a Stormhammer as he jaunts away, so he can get away from Brax on the puck. Going back to Dragon Knight, he's building into an armlet. First off, you'd like to see that option in this game?
I mean, there are two real things I would like to see. Either he goes for this physical, can do some damage with the armlet, or he could have gone pure initiation with either a blink or a shadow blade. But Ryoya, because he's had such a good early game, I don't slight him for going this armlet. It means he'll be able to stay a bit relevant further into the mid game and not just be that stun. He'll be able to be the damage on top of it as well.
Yeah, Fear, nice job with the LSA right as he gets stunned. And you see March throwing in that Divine Favor to pop the regen and help keep him alive. I was also going to talk about DK. I mean, he's camping this middle lane. He's just really hasn't left this area, even with the tier 1 tower going down. He's going to try to take the stack off to the side, which pretty efficient play, of course. I mean, you're dealing not only with Alchemist, but you are dealing with a Sven as well, who loves these stacks, who almost has an Echo Saber finish. So I go back to the point of now DK. Do you want to see DK moving elsewhere, be more active, or you think it's fine the fact that he's kind of just hugging this middle area for now?
I mean, there's not much more he can do until he gets into these later items. And by hugging this middle area, taking this early tier 1 mid, you can see where it's forced the Alchemist to farm. He's farming in this aggressive region, and that's because of the positioning of Ryoya.
Drow, he's going to be fine. In fact, getting the last laugh right there. That's your classic issue of you have a haste rune, you think you're unkillable. Well, you're not. Moo, he finds that out the hard way. He gets taken out, 4 heroes essentially collapsing on top of him, and all he wanted to do is kind of harass the Drow, and he ends up dying for it. So, solid play there for Beast Coast, also helping keep Drow alive and trying to get her recovery continued. But Alchemist, obviously to no big surprise, he is top farm right now, 5,500 net worth, and he's almost got the Sacred Relic. In fact, he has enough gold for it, as he buys it right there. So the pattern, the recipe next in line to finish that full Radiant. So the clock is on, I suppose, for Beast Coast. In terms of at least the Radiance.
We talked about how they shut down his jungle a tiny bit, but Bryle, he correctly identified where to farm. Because, you know, as soon as he got pressured out of these camps over here, he's just been farming the triangle, farming aggressively on the enemy side of the map. And it means he really isn't set that back far. Because we usually see the Radiance, it comes out 11 minutes after one death, he'll have it at 12. That's really not that bad, especially when you had such a bad mid lane matchup.
Over here, yeah, Chen figuring out where to go. He's still level 4. He is just about to hit level 5 at least, but this is, of course, the downside of this hero. That happens quite a bit. He will get under level. Does have an experienced talent at level 10. Has the opportunity. Smoke plays on either side, by the way, though. Both avoiding one another for now. As Beast Coast, they're wrapping around mid, supporting the DK. They scan out, miss, and Looks like they're all just going to avoid one another in the end. That's what's going to happen right here. I believe Chen even recalled somebody for the bottom tower, yeah. So, gonna trade tier 1 for tier 2.
They took the Lina with them into the smoke, and Beast Coast, they realized they have this very long disable. Now they have the Fiend's Grip, and we're just hoping to find someone. But Brial, he does have that Radiance coming out to him eventually now.
Ooh, how about DK, by the way? He ends up going drums. You look, they're pressuring tier 2 tower, so he switches it up a bit. He right-clicks the drums, still has the full 6 charges good to go. And meanwhile, J.Storm, they're still pushing this bottom tier 2 now. Going to try to force a reaction out of Beast Coast, see what they decide to do, as they do finish off the tier 2 mid, and they're heading towards tier 1 top. So, interesting state we're in right now, because both teams pretty fine with not fighting and trading towers. It seems like Beast Coast is getting the better, though.
Yeah, I mean, both teams, they're not quite at their peaks where they want to be. Rio, like, he has his drums, but it's, you know, not the big initiation item. This Drow Ranger, Hero of Eternal Envy, you know, he just needs to recover, needs to get that farm after being so pressured. And they're waiting for Brial to have his second item after Radiance, you know. He gets the treads, he gets that Mantle Soul, and that's when you start seeing the Alchemist get involved. So they would... Both teams, they're just looking to see whatever they can get off the map. And with the help of the Chen creeps, they're able to claim this tier 2 tower. And J.Storm, they're more than happy with that.
Yeah. In Resolution, taking out, I don't believe it was a stack, but just some of the jungle. Again, he has that Echo Saber on Sven. Earn finished right there by Grimstroke, meanwhile. Is right-clicking that Spirit Vessel. Of course, a fantastic item to have against Alchemist, so not surprising to see Grimstroke prioritizing that item in a matchup such as this.
Yeah, one thing I do have to say, though, is J.Storm, we did see tower for towers trade, but J.Storm, they've given up both of their mid lane towers, and these mid lane towers, they're so important early on. So I do kind of prefer the position Beast Coast is in, giving up these side lanes over the mids, tier 1 and 2.
Is Bane in trouble? Sven wants to catch up to him, but he cannot. No blink queued up at this point for Sven, and he's going to go into Heaven's Halberd. Interesting. That's his direction right now. At least he's doing it for the Sage, and we'll see if he goes to full Halberd. That seems like a curious item to me, though, this game, if he actually goes, because it doesn't seem like a very obvious Halberd game, necessarily, and doing it on your position 1 Sven also, it seems...
I mean... Position 1, I think, is kind of a misnomer here if you think about it, because Brial is the real carry for the side of J.Storm, even though Resolution was in the safe lane. And the Halberd, you know, it just gives him that evasion burst of the Drow, and it's a 5-second disarm, and most of Beast Coast damage, they don't really have much anything else except the physical damage coming out from Eternal Envy. Yeah. Because, you know, Dragonites, he's not going to hit extremely hard. You will have a bit of magic from the puck eventually, but that... If he gets that disarm on that Drow, they're really going to not have much in the fights for the side of Beast Coast.
Yeah, I suppose if anything, like you said, for the evasion, it is actually pretty good too, so we'll see. That's what Resolution decides to go for. Blink Dagger, though, finished on Alchemist, following up the Radiance, of course, as he's doing his own thing. Up at the top side of the map right now, he's got that full... Look at the wards, though. This triangle of wards placed in this Radiant jungle, and, I mean, Alchemist just clears it out, and... That's that. I guess this one over here is blocking the Ancients. Actually, no, it's not even blocking the Ancients, from what I can tell. So, what's the
they got down these really deep wards when they went for the smoke, and I guess they were thinking about contesting the Alchemist, but because of what they've had to respond from the map, this hasn't been possible. And Brial, you know, I said I thought he might go for the Mantle Soul, but gone for that Blink Dagger. So that's a very aggressive item, and it means J.Storm, they think they're stronger than the side of Beast Coast, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him get involved in fights, because that's what a Blink Dagger is all about, really. Obviously, it does speed up your farms because you're able to get from camp to camp, but I think of it more as a fighting item.
Smoke play. Sven sitting on top of the Haystern currently. Is there vision of it? There is vision of it, so if somebody was paying attention from Beast Coast, they might have seen it disappear. It doesn't look like, though, the way that they're moving, they necessarily picked up on that, but I don't know if J.Storm's going to once again... These smoke plays have just not really worked out so far this game.
Dire's middle tower.
Yeah, they haven't had the successful aggressive vision. They had the kind of idea where Drow was farming, but obviously they don't know exactly where she is. They don't head exactly towards her. But they do still get a pick off of TMs here in the mid lane. Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if that transitions into this objective. So still a very successful smoke to the side of J.Storm.
Yeah,
Dire's
that,
middle tower
especially with
has
what happened
fallen.
right there, absolutely worth it. And like I
Radiant's
said, the
bottom
tower kill on
tower
top.
is
So,
under attack.
and then Chen also going to recall resolution to the top
Dire's
lane, who
middle
they're
tower is
hoping
under
to catch Ryo. Actually, he TP'd over there, excuse me. But either way, Ryoya
Dire
almost
are
getting
standing.
caught. Concoction hit him initially, but not long enough of a stun, and he is going to be able to TP out before Sven can find
Radiant's
him. So
bottom tower is
get away
under
there
attack.
from the DK, but
Radiant's
man, you
bottom
look at
tower
Alchemist, and
has
I
fallen.
know it's Alk, but just seeing that net worth now, it's DK was even ahead in the early game, and all of a sudden it's now a 4,000 net worth lead for Alchemist over the DK and everyone else. Yeah,
it's
scary.
It honestly just seems like one kill on this Alchemist. It wasn't enough. Obviously, it was very nice, and they've thought about shutting him
Radiant's
down.
bottom tower
You've
is
seen
under
everything
attack.
Beast Coast has done. It's been about Bryle. 3 wards spent in this area. The early 5-minute ward here in the jungle, but to only net 1 kill, and Bryle just
Dire's
happy to
top
farm
tower
because
is under
J.Storm
attack.
have been able to buy him that space. It just feels like J.Storm, they're getting everything they want, and Beast Coast on.
Well, Ike's Mike, he's got a Fiend's Grip ready at the top lane. He's ready to
Radiant's
go. They also have a
structures
Dream
are
Coil.
fortified.
We haven't even mentioned the Villa Discord picked up by Puck. He's had it for a bit, but again, there really
Dire's
hasn't been
top
much
tower
fighting.
is under
Ever
attack.
since the early laning phase,
Dire's
it's
top
only
tower
12
has
hero
fallen.
kills in 18 minutes. For a Dota 2 game, let's be honest, that's pretty low as far as the amount of kills go, especially for NA Dota. But soon it's eventually going to break out. But yeah, it just feels like the pace is certainly favoring J.Storm, not only with the Alchemist, but all 3 of their cores. In fact, bottom lane, DK's caught. This could be trouble for Beast Coast. He's going to go for the TP play. That's not going to work.
Dire's middle tower
LSA
is
hits,
under
and there was
attack.
no chance at that point. He's out for 45 seconds. 260 gold going the way of resolution, and much more space now for J.Storm to work with.
Yeah, that feels really bad if you're fighting Beast Coast. Firstly, this is a DK. He's meant to be your tanky hero. He's not meant to be the one getting picked off on the map. And secondly, he was honestly their most farmed hero. And he still is. And J.Storm, they're able to kill your most farmed hero. They're able to kill any of your heroes. So now you feel very afraid if you're
Dire's
Beast Coast, and
middle
you can
tower
even
is
see
under
Eternal Envy
attack.
just running away from its own jungle.
I'm kind of going back to these drums on DK, and not saying it's necessarily a bad thing, but it feels weird the fact is hold that thought because Lena running into IX Mike. He pops a Nightmare. You just got to run, buddy. You got to run. I don't know about this. They want to fight. They want the kill, but at what cost now? Brax, they are going to get the kill. Brax in trouble, though. Waning Rift as well as Dream Coil put down. Nice job getting away from the Stormhammer. And actually, Brax is going to escape, so they take out Bane. And that should be all that it is, as he has another Blink Dagger. So, okay, it works out fairly well for Beast Coast, I suppose, considering the trade.
It's a 1-1 trade. You can be happy with that, especially when you're behind like this. The Alchemist, he just didn't have the vision for the Bane to be able to get the stun on him, and that might have been able to buy Fear enough time to be able to survive.
Well, they're going to continue going, those. J.Storm specifically. Darkseer, he put the wall down. No vacuum just yet. He also has a Crimson Guard, by the way, finished. Meanwhile, Brax causing a little chaos in the midst of it. Out comes the Soulbind. Double silence with the Phantom Embrace, but DK sitting on top of that wall. He's down to half life. He's going to be disarmed, in fact, so that Heaven's Helper is finished. And Ryoya ends up going down in the midst of it. He's out for 45 seconds. Has a buyback if needed. We'll see if he ends up using it. Bryle is going to keep chasing down the Drow, picks her off. IX Mike trying to get out of this. Moo, meanwhile, gets a kill on a Grimstroke on the back lines. Something tells me that was a team effort, but Bryle, so he's not going to stop. He's going to get a double kill out of this, a killing spree as well. And it just feels like all J.Storm at this point.
Yeah, I don't want to say a game's over because it's clearly not. There are things Beast Coast can do, but the execution there from J.Storm was absolutely brilliant. They just ran at Beast Coast, realizing they're stronger. They forced Eternal Envy, who playing a very defensive game here. First item BKB has the 10-second BKB, but doesn't yet have the damage, so they're able to just live through it. Beast Coast, they get the Grimstroke Ultimate as well as the Dragon Tail onto the Sven and the Darkseer, I think it was, but they don't have any follow-up damage. They don't have the damage, so even though you have that massively long control, you're not able to kill off anyone. And once your BKB's over, Bryle, they run at him. Really nice job waking him up from the sleep. He's able to get on top of the Eternal Envy Drow Ranger, and then that fight is just over.
Yeah, going back to my point that I was about to make earlier now, DK has used a charge now because in that last fight he finally did, but up until that last fight, he was sitting on the full 6 charges for at least like 8 minutes since he's gotten the item. And again, I'm not saying you should be looking to spam the charges on drums, but it feels like that's one of the benefits of why you'd get it earlier on, is to then kind of group up or even just use it individually to push towers, go for ganks, whatever. And that just didn't unfold like Beast Coast had hoped for. So maybe the itemization not the greatest in the end, and kind of hindsight value there. Resolution, he just is not afraid to go in. He's got the backup eventually. Once again, the Soulbind as well as the Drink all going to lock them in place. They also have a Shrine Pop in the backlands, but the damage output is not there. You mentioned Drow with that BKB here. Damage output is simply not enough. I also hear the Laguna Blade going off. Bane is going to survive for the time being, but Drow and the Puck will both fall. Ryoya, he's going to flap his wings and do his best to fly away. Bane, he don't got no wings. He's going to fall. Triple kill for Alchemist. Ryoya flapping those wings still, but the chase is on from Bryal with that surge and the burn, the concoction. Armlet toggle, well played there from Ryoya. It's not going to be enough. No, ultra kill for Bryal. Why are we going to make it a rampage? Why the hell not? Let's give it to him, baby. It's a rampage for Alchemist. Heals coming in. I would not be surprised to see that GG soon.
Yeah, the deep vision here definitely paying off. They just run in with the span, and we said because they have no damage, and it was proved right there. Resolution, he was by himself against 5 heroes, and they can't kill him. They have all the control. They kill Eternal Envy through the BKB, and Beast Coast, they can't do anything, and they know it's over. They call the GG.
Yeah, it's just a game that got out of hand, and sure, the Alchemist is one thing, but it honestly just felt like Beast Coast was lost. The DK specifically won his lane very well. They had a huge start. He had the earlier drums. You know, Brax, I believe, had a decent timing Blink Dagger. Yes, Drow had a horrendous start because of what J.Storm was doing against her, but they just seemed like they were not necessarily on the same page as far as their strategy moving forward, and I'm not saying it was easy, but definitely looked a little lost there. But props to J.Storm 100%, absolutely deserving the victory as they take it with Game 1 in this best out of 3.
Yeah, the thing about Beast Coast is early on, they seem to know what they had to do. I said again, you know, they set up to pressure Bryal, but the real issue was their lack of damage. So DK, you know, they picked him because they didn't have last pick. So they just pick a solid mid hero who's not going to get pressured too heavily. But then even though he might have the control for this Alchemist, they just don't have the damage because Eternal Envy can't come to these early fights because he has to focus on his own farm. So even though they had the vision the entire time over where Bryal was farming, he was just able to farm there with impunity. So Beast Coast, I don't think they were lost. They just didn't know how to execute what they had to do.
And as I said, the Heavens Halberd was no doubt the obvious choice and a great choice from Resolution there on Sven. So 100% called it. No, yeah, that proved to be obviously a good pickup too. We saw specifically that big clash that finally happened. I mean, disarming the DK, and he kind of just stood there like, well, yeah, I'll just watch, I guess, for the duration here, and bad things happened following for Beast Coast. So, yeah, not much else to say, though, about it. J.Storm, definitely the better team in that first game. We'll see what Beast Coast has up their sleeve for game number 2, and see what happens for Drow. You know, that's the interesting thing, too, because obviously J.Storm's not going to necessarily be banning it themselves. If they have the first pick, though, will Beast Coast maybe be banned? She's going to be an interesting hero. Or will they go back to it saying, you know, it wasn't the Drow, there was much more else that game? That's what I'm curious about in the second game draft.
I never want to say that hero has been figured out in the meta, but you know, it does seem more and more Drow Rangers are losing, and teams, they now seem to know what to do against this hero. And I don't know if she's first pick material anymore, but Beast Coast, they most certainly think she is. And I wouldn't be surprised if J.Storm, they leave her in the draft again, just dangling her like a carrot in front of Beast Coast.
Yeah. Well, that's going to do it for game number 1. Once again, guys, thanks to DX Racer for supporting this event, helping to put it on. This, of course, being the StarLadder ImbaTV Dota 2 Minor North American Qualifiers. That is a mouthful right there. But it's the minor tournament, the final one of the season. This is the NA Region Qualifiers. And right now it's J.Storm up 1-0 over Beast Coast. It is double elimination, but we'll see. Can J.Storm advance on here, or will we get a game 3? We're going to find out next, as I'm BreakyCPK, joined by Hasbaz. Stay tuned, guys. That game number 2 coming up next.